Welcome back, everybody. I think today's the day that we're going to be putting this lump back inside the engine bay. Bay looking all nice and purty. Now there's definitely still some stuff that I need to do to this long block to get it fully prepped, but I think I'm at that stage where I just need to go ahead and put it in the bay. I am going to be replacing the water pump, timing belt, the tensioner, all that, but I don't have that piece yet. I was looking up to see what water pump I would need, and I did find out that, like I told you in the last episode, this one still here is a OEM Honda piece. I don't know if you can read it, it's right in there, it's called a P2A, and I was looking online, and that's the same as a D16Y7, so I'm going to just order a new Y7 pump and get that coming, the timing belt, all that, of course. One thing that I do need to address before I do any of this is I need to get the lower bracket there for the alternator, and I have an option here where my Y8, this has this lower bracket, but these lower bolts on here have been giving me serious trouble. So I also have this guy off the Z6. I'm just gonna go ahead and take that because it's easier to get to at the moment. And then this alternator, I'm gonna be taking it in and replacing it. Getting one of those refurbished ones so it's nice and newer. Essentially everything else is ready. I still need to do the oil pump, but again, I am still waiting on that. But I also want to do it while the engine is mounted up in the car. That way this thing will be suspended up in here and it'll act as my engine stand, and I can work on it here, no problem. So we're now going to be putting these Hasport mounts to good use, and that'll be awesome, man. Can't wait to see this thing inside the bay. Now, since this thing is going to be up in the bay when I'm going to be redoing the water pump and everything, I'm going to make my life just a little bit easier right now and kind of prepare for changing out this oil pump. I'm going to go ahead and take off the water pump, tensioner, and timing belt. Everything is in time. It was in time last episode. I just checked again by putting this on and the crank pulley. Everything is in time. So I'm going to disassemble those pieces. It'll make it real easy to get to this oil pump, and it'll be easier to just put the water pump, the new water pump and tensioner and stuff back in. Just trying to think ahead a little bit. I also need to go ahead and count the teeth on this guy just to make sure I know what I'm dealing with. This guy could just look better, Seems like it's still fine. But why not? We'll get another. Here I am thinking the flood is going to come out of this thing again, so I was all prepared, just like the last one. But nope. It's pretty much dry. There's just a tiny bit. So I'm going to hold on to these pieces, just in case, what I get isn't the same. I'm going to make sure everything is the same, all the teeth and all that. And of course that the new one lines up in there. And I also need to make sure that the timing belt, I need to know how many teeth that thing has. So I'm keeping all this stuff. But like I said, I do plan on getting the new parts coming. And I am going to go ahead and put this thing back on just because I don't want this hole being exposed while it's sitting there waiting for the new piece. I just wanted to make sure that it's going to come off easy while I have good access to it. I'm just going to put like 1 or 2 bolts in this thing just so that it's sitting in there, and then it'll be easy to take out when time comes to change it. And just so y'all see here, it is the P2A. That's how that guy's going to sit back there. Woohoo! Got the bracket here. Alright, so I'll put them mounts in once the engine is under there. But let's go ahead and push this guy under. Well, that definitely takes some doing, but hey, it's there. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put these mounts in. I'm gonna do the driver's and passenger side here, and that way I'm just gonna lower the car down slowly, and then we're gonna try to line it up nice and even, and then go ahead and bolt these guys in. As I lower this thing, you know, the car is moving the way of the jack, so I kind of just got to wiggle the engine. We're getting there. Just got to keep wiggling. So it took a heck of a lot of wiggling, but I got it. I got it. A couple jack stands too. That guy was up on the front, and then I had to use this guy up underneath. I used some bricks to support. I even used this at one point. So it took a second. I pretty much had to get the whole engine and trans combo lifted up off the ground just a touch. That way I could get it securely in this mount. And then once that side was done, I went ahead and picked up this side. I just went ahead and put this mount down on the trans here. And yeah, I see that bolt's not in there yet. I'm gonna get it, don't worry. It's fine. But then I had to go ahead and lift it up. I had to lift the trans up with this jack here and just kind of line it on up. And it did take some wiggling. I had to go ahead and, you know, jack the car up to a certain height to just get everything lined up just right. But man, like I said, it worked, and I'm pretty proud of myself for doing that. I still have to get the rear mount in here too, so we'll be doing that here in a sec. So I did this myself. I'm really proud of myself for doing this, but I want to dedicate all my hard work here in this episode really to my friends Juan, Dusan, and Travis. The only reason I feel comfortable doing this myself is because of all the help of those guys and all the stuff that they helped me do before. With all of us doing it, teamwork, you know, we got it done, and we all learned something before. Even though Juan and Dusan had much more knowledge of this prior, we all learned something on how to get an engine in a car without using a hoist. So again, Juan, Dusan, Travis, thank you guys so much. This episode is for you. I'm gonna be getting more of these nuts here, like these guys. This looks much, much better on this side. Really happy with that. I just need to go ahead and get 3 more here so I can go ahead and finish that off. So I just went ahead and popped that third one on there. I am gonna be ordering those, but for now, we need to finish this up by going ahead and putting this rear mount on. I did just keep the rear bolts there, the ones I had before. It's pretty crazy, man. These things are actually pretty dang expensive. 13 bucks, I think it was, for this brand new one. And that's 30% off OEM. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep running those for now. I'm fine with it. Third one started down in there. I just left them all loose for the moment. I'm gonna go ahead and put this big guy in over on the trans side here first. Okay, so whew, that took some doing again. This back mount here, it just, these mounts are so stiff compared to the stock stuff. And again, this is just the U70A, just the first step up. But man, they're so stiff. So you really have to manhandle the engine to kind of maneuver this thing and get everything lined up just right. I had to use my jack stand again, but we got it. And yeah, these things look awesome in here, man. I could not be happier with them. Can't wait to see how it's gonna feel. I'd imagine it's gonna feel quite different. So here's where I'd like to ask you guys for your opinion. I plan on running this lower transmission mount here. What it seems to me is that this thing is not a solid engine mount like what these guys are. Maybe I'm totally wrong in thinking that, but just look at the design here. This whole big mount that sits all around the trans here, but then it's sitting on this tiny little bushing here, and with these flimsy, tiny little pieces of metal. From what I have read, is that this thing is just to kind of help with the engine vibration when it's in stock trim and you're using the stock pieces. That it'll help reduce vibrations inside the cabin. I don't know. I definitely would run this thing still. I have it. But you all let me know. I'm going to leave this thing off just for right now. I'd really like to hear y'all's opinion on this thing. Do I need to run it now that I have these aftermarket, much stronger mounts? Is it a necessity? What do you think? Please let me know. This is something where I'm going to leave off for right now. And I guess if the overall general consensus is, hey, you really should run this, then that's exactly what I'll do. But if not, I think I'm going to leave it off. So just small little things here, but I got the clutch line all bolted down out of the way so it's not hanging because I want to put this guy on. Look at this really, really nice transmission ground from the frame to the trans. And then of course I have another one that's just like this that's going to go valve cover to the frame. I have to sand this down here for the frame. You see I already did here with this. Sucks to put a little bit of a mark inside of your new work here, inside of your new paint job, but hey, it needs to be done. And of course that needs to be grounded and it's gonna look really good, all covered up. So I realize that's one of those small little dumb things, but I think it's really cool. It adds a nice touch to the bay. Putting in those old grounds, I just wouldn't be as happy with that. And so it's these small things, that can make you happy. This right here was my old transmission ground. So yeah, you tell me which one you'd be happier with. So I finally got my shipping notification that my oil pump is coming. I have that ported oil pump coming, brand new Yamada pump. I'm going to be taking this guy off of here, and then we're going to go ahead and get that on. I also have the new water pump and timing belt kit inside of there, a Gates kit. We'll be doing that probably the same episode as well. So we are moving along, everybody. Thank you for watching. Talk to you in the next one.